What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So I thought I would do a one-off special video, and it is a reaction to the AGM that took place at Celtic Park last week. I'm going to give my thought, earlier this week, should I say. Going to give my thoughts and opinions about how pointless this AGM was, and why the board are not fit for purpose, and why they need to be removed from the club immediately. So, just a typical AGM. All the board members were there. Peter Lawwell, Michael Nicholson, Sharon Brown, David Mackay, all of them were there, along with the majority shareholders. Dermot Desmond, who I'll be talking about quite a lot in this video, was not there. Ross Desmond, who's on the Celtic board, was there to represent his dad. Dermot Desmond doesn't care about Celtic. He comes out and says that he's a boyhood Celtic fan. That's what Ross Desmond said as well at the AGM, that his dad is a lifelong Celtic fan and he has Celtic's best interest at heart. Well, you know, if you've got the best interest of the club at heart, why are you not at the AGM answering questions? You know, it's completely pointless him coming out and saying that. We all know Desmond doesn't care. I'm not a fan of him. I've hated him for over 20 years. Him and the whole entire board need to be removed. In terms of Europe, in terms of the Green Brigade, there's a lot of stuff that the board do which angers me. Not just me, millions of Celtic fans who just don't like this board. In the 90s, people say they had the Whites and the Kellys. You know, these guys are just as bad as them, possibly even worse. You know, we're not asking you to go out and spend £30 million on players. What we're saying is go out there and get a better quality of player, do the scouting better. You know, it's pointless going to, you know, like South Korea and going to get a guy for like £2 million. Like, for example, Kwon. You know, whose idea was it to get Kwon in? You know, you brought Brendan Rodgers back, you know, on his day as a top manager. You said to him, we're going to get, you know, the players we need. But that never happened in the summer transfer window, as per normal. The board not listening to what the manager has to say. They've done that for over 2 decades. It's completely pointless. You know, completely pointless getting all these guys in, all these projects, you know, who are young, you know, could be good in the future, but it's a risk. You know, it hasn't worked. On the odd occasion, like Victor Wanyama, that was one where they did get it right, but that was it's not very often we do get it correct. To be honest, with this transfer model, it's not working. Like, people will say, oh, we're playing Scotland, you know, it's with the wages, you know, it's hard to attract top players to the Scottish Premier League. You know, but we don't even try. That's what annoys the hell out of me and everybody else. They don't even try to get these players in. You know, what was the point of selling Jota to Saudi Arabia when we are not spending the money that we got from his sale? It's completely pointless. You know, the Green Brigade as well. You know, the Green Brigade have been banned by the board for, you know, Palestine flags and, you know, getting the club into trouble, you know, with fines and stuff. You know, that is bad. I'm not saying it isn't, but at the same time, you know, the Green Brigade do bring a lot of good to the club, you know, with the charity and stuff. You know, the board seem to just criticise them for all the bad things, but what about the good things the Green Brigade do? You know, we completely forget about that. They bring a great atmosphere. You know, without them, there is no atmosphere at Celtic Park, you know, particularly in European games. They said that they might ban them permanently. That would be a disaster if they'd done that. Completely pointless. It's because they don't like this board. That's what it is. You know, they're not a fan of them at all. You know, they have every right to criticise them. You know, what have the board ever done for us in terms of European football? They've never done any ambitious moves. They really haven't. So I don't blame the Green Brigade for falling out with the board. You know, European football as well. You know, that's another main talking point. They didn't answer basically anything. You know, we want to know what the ambition is for the club going forward in Europe. You know, they never answer the questions. Again, just a completely pointless AGM. Everybody in there is completely pointless as well. Everyone in there is a majority shareholder of some sort in the football club. So completely pointless. They're not the right people to be there. It should be the fans in there, not these people who are majority shareholders. They're part of the problem as well. They don't challenge the board on any decisions that they make. They're on the board side. It's completely pointless. You know, they're saying we're competing. You know, Lawwell came out and said we're competing. Well, I don't understand what he's talking about, because we haven't won a game in the Champions League for over 10 years. You know, we haven't won a knockout game since 2003. Even with Lawwell as the chief executive as well, we've never We haven't won a game since then. Whose idea was it to bring him back? You know, nobody wants him at the football club. I certainly don't want him. I absolutely hate him. I think he's crap. You know, it's all right dominating Scotland, but still, what about Europe? Europa League, Celtic should be doing a lot better. Yeah, the Champions League's beyond Celtic. I admit that, it is. But at the same time, the Europa League, Celtic could easily compete better in that, but we just don't invest the right money on the right players because of this board. They keep talking about Scottish domination. We've dominated Scotland for over 20 years. You know, I'm not being funny, but it's pretty easy to win in Scotland. You know, all the teams don't come out against us. They sit back. You know, we're so much better than them as well. You know, why are we not pushing on? You know, we seem to be focusing on staying ahead of Rangers than anything else. You know, staying ahead of Rangers, dominating Scotland, winning a treble every year, you know, and that's it. Well, you know, we want ambitions for Europe, you know, competing better. You know, we used to be such a good team in Europe, you know, when we had like Larson, Sutton, Hartson, Lennon, you know, top players. We had a great winning streak at home as well. Nobody could beat us at home in the Champions League. But now everybody comes to us and they expect to beat us pretty comprehensively. We're basically the whipping boys of the Champions League. You know, we're pathetic in the Champions League. It's always a freaking same. You know, we just don't get the right players in. And that's gone through multiple managers. You know, whether it's Brendan Rodgers, Neil Lennon, Ange Postecoglou, Gordon Strachan. That's gone on for years and years and years. You know, not right investment. It really isn't. You know, I just can't stand it. You know, AGM's completely pointless. Every single year, it's the same story. They come out and say that they are doing this, they are doing that, they are spending the right money. Well, then, which is complete and utter rubbish. They don't spend the right money at all. Need to be removed immediately. You know, talking about Barrowfield, you know, the training ground. You know, when was the last time, apart from Kieran Tierney, James Forrest, you know, about 2 people come through the youth system. Any youth project we have, we let go. You know, our own youth. Like Ben Doak, we let go to Liverpool. He's playing quite well for Liverpool. Completely pointless. Karamoko Dembele never got an opportunity. He's now playing in France. Cameron Harper went to America. You know, we let all these guys go. All this young talent. We don't try and convince them to stay. It's completely pointless. We don't offer them enough salary as well. We let every other club come in and take our players, like young players. That's also part of the problem. The recruitment at Celtic is absolutely dreadful. I really hate it. Under Ange, we had a few decent signers like Maeda, Kyogo, Hatate, O'Reilly. But then since Lawwell's come back, we haven't had any good signings. You know, I don't understand why he's back at the football club. You know, nobody wants him. I certainly don't want him. You know, we'll never have any ambition to push on with these people in charge. Need to be taken out of the equation, need to be removed. You know, there is certain fans who like the board. You know, they're hard to convince, but I think there is more people who do not like this board. You know, people say it's divided and we won't be able to ever get rid of them. Well, I don't believe that. I honestly think that if we all want success in Europe, you know, Brendan Rodgers wants us to push on as well. You know what? We've brought him back. You know, he wouldn't have come back if we didn't make him promises, but as per usual, the board just make promises and they don't keep them. It's just the same old story. But yeah, completely pointless AGM. My recommendation would be just don't give them any money at all. Don't go to every single game, you know, at home or whatever until they hits them in the pocket financially. We're never going to be successful in Europe unless we get rid of them, you know, in the Europa League at least. You know, the Champions League is beyond us, like I said earlier, but the Europa League we should be doing a lot better. But yeah, give me your thoughts and opinions on the AGM. Like I said, I thought it was completely utterly pointless. Completely pointless AGM. The majority shareholder doesn't even turn up. He hasn't turned up for 7 years. That just proves how much of a complete utter cunt he is, in my opinion. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys whenever. Take care. Peace.